Azerbaijan and Turkey Services Business Lead Mehmet Gülez will be with us in this session. So payments are beyond cards today, right? The economy is almost entirely digital right now, and we're talking about cross-border payments that are very much a part of our lives. So when you look at advancing technologies and tokenization, AI, or digital identities, these are also quite relevant, and regulations follow them in terms of customer identification, authentication, development. So at Mastercard, what would you like to share with us in terms of how you see these developments?
This world is built on trust, and we have invested in the establishment of trust. And we make sure that they too reconcile with one another. And one topic that we monitor a lot is the digitalization index of economies, because as economies digitalize themselves, as there is more participation in digital economy, it also will expand the business volume of our clients. And in a world where everything is shifting towards digital payments, threats arise as well, or the need for investments arises as well, because once you break the chain of trust in the system, the consumer or merchants or other stakeholders in the ecosystem gravitate towards alternative channels. An example from Turkey. Well, 62-63% of household spending takes place via payment systems and digital payment systems right now. And as for real estate purchases and vehicles, when you take them out, it is even as high as 80%. It is quite critical to secure the safety of these systems. And Mastercard has a system, a structure that runs this infrastructure with all its acquisitions and procurement infrastructure. It has rechanneled its focus on that. Well, tokenization is a realm that rapidly evolves right now, and it's an inevitable fact. Some 20% of all the transactions are in tokenized version, and present card, not present transactions in particular. As for Turkey, Turkey's Mastercard office has invested a lot in the expansion of this area, and this is now on a licensing journey as well. And it is thanks to that we have invested in the secure e-trade systems, and we want consumers to feel more comfortable, and we want merchants to accept payments more easily. And when we look at that, e-commerce has gained great momentum, and safety infrastructure and card storing solutions have contributed significantly to that. We have recently acquired Brighterion, a solution backed by AI, powered by AI, and it also performs fraud scoring. We have localized that, and we have also embedded it with our data storage systems and solutions. And the banks that accept payments, or the merchants that accept payments, can see the impeccable transaction score. And the payment transactions are definitely much safer right now, and it is thanks to the Brighterion infrastructure. Etaco is another solution, and it has established an ecosystem all across the globe. And the cash register transactions and the data related with that is leveraged, and banks that provide cards in the time of a transaction, early risk detection is thus possible for the banks, and this is the network that we've established thanks to our solution. And this also extends to all the digital subscriptions of the customers, and we're bringing that into Turkey. And the banking applications will enable you to reach your etoc infrastructure, and you'll be able to manage all your transactions end to end. It is is thanks to these investments that payment systems are now monitored, and you can see trust, and anything that you can see, you can visualize would be giving you confidence. And digital payment systems see some 300 billion transactions on a day, and we have an AI infrastructure, and we have also a machine learning infrastructure, and we do scoring there as well by milliseconds, and this data is thus generated for the entire ecosystem. We want it because we want the transactions to be safe, and we want the transactions to be finalized, and fintechs and financial institutions and customers, we want them to also enjoy the benefits of the system. Mastercard is a major player, and the greatest impact of these investments take place in the realm of accessibility, especially access to finance. There is a bank right across the corner here, right? But in Africa or in other countries like India and Brazil, access to financial services was much more restricted, but the state then started to subsidize it. And the number of standards rises right now. However, the impact of using these calculations is not really high. Yes, bank accounts are opened, but users are not really using them. So access is somehow disrupted. And how to really improve that, what would you like to say? Especially some examples from Azerbaijan could enrich the topic. Yes, the CEO of Mastercard, and the key KPI that he looks into is the digitalization of economies and what kind of a market share that Mastercard enjoys. 210 countries represent our footprint, and we also look into the universal sustainability of transactions, because you may go to another country, you may be on a journey, and some transactions must be completed. And for you to give this kind of a trust, you need to work closely with the states, and you need to extend support to the digitalization agendas of countries. So Center of Inclusion, Growth and Innovation is the center that Mastercard runs, and it works with governments, it works with states, and it also studies how to really expand participation in economy. Well, examples could be shared. I will briefly touch upon Azerbaijan soon. And for you to do it globally, you need to partner with certain players, and development banks are very much concentrated on that as well, because they place great emphasis on inclusion. IFC, EBRD, Asian Development Bank are all the players that we collaborate. We have different programs in all parts of the world, like SMEs, access to digital economies, and support programs. For example, facilitation of the adoption of cards, or access to lending opportunities and facilities. And in Turkey, there is a smart SME program. We also work with them. E-traders and exporters, they can enjoy our export issues and solutions. We have also covered over 50% of the shipment prices of women exporters last year. Examples from Azerbaijan. In 2017, Mastercard consulting team worked with the Central Bank. Cashless Azerbaijan was the name of the project, and the level was 6% to 7% was the formal economy in Azerbaijan. And looking at the situation from today, we have designed the program, and the formal economy or digital economy volume is over 30%, and it's booming right now, because one leg of the program included different incentives, VAT cashback or cash reimbursements, because once you pay in cash, you get VAT returns. We would do that in the past. But you wouldn't know it. I remember it, though. I remember it. So this was the system, and it's digitalized right now. VAT returns can take place thanks to Mastercard solutions, and building such a culture of refunding and refunds has also encouraged adoption. Tokenization has been a notable example of tokenization as well. Well, Turkish Central Bank and Turkish financial services laws stipulate that transactions must take place in local infrastructures, and Azerbaijan is working working on the same law, but they have introduced an exemption. They opened Google Play, and they are receiving our support for that. And over 35% of Apple Pay and Google Pay transactions. And people's capabilities to access digital cards, as we were talking about plastic cards, and the need for plastic is now eliminated thanks to tokenization. But what happened in Azerbaijan, the bank, the customers started to receive a lot of cards from many banks, and the best benefits, they started to seek the best benefit looking at the financial ecosystem. And they do it in a very easy fashion, so this is great and quite smooth user experience. And the area, the maneuvering space that the regulators open for that is important. Adoption was important, and SMEs digitalization was another project that we ran with the Central Bank. Yes, exactly, because transition to digital and preparation and support is quite important, because digital literacy is something that must be secured for individual users, retail users and SMEs. And when there is higher levels of digital literacy, adoption is definitely wider and broader. Yes, exactly. The government itself during the time of the Olympics and post-device adoption was mandatory. Well, 80,000 was the number that adopted the system, but active use was not really quite prevalent. But it was thanks to the digital payments project that we ran. We made sure that we supported the government, and I hope SMEs and merchants network will now expand itself. My last question, and we have last 3 minutes already. New technologies, AI, crypto, CBDC projects are now very much high on our agendas. And how can companies prepare themselves for that kind of a transformation? Well, Mastercard is a worldwide network, and there are alternatives to Mastercard as well. Well, Mastercard is also preparing for that. And a month ago, we released 2 announcements. The first was Agentic Pay. It was related with agentic commerce, and the interface of new commerce and payments are going to evolve as well, and the instruments that intermediate the payments, they are also evolving, and Mastercard has given a start to that, and it's just about to be launched in the United States. But we also need to think about the experience of commerce. The customers and consumers may not even have to go to marketplaces. They will have to manage everything with their agents, whereby they question everything. And we are also turning our face to this direction as well. And if the regulatory support is secured, I believe that there will be important leaps. And as for CBDC and other technologies, this is about central banks' own cryptocurrencies, and Mastercard is also providing crypto sandbox environments to central banks. We did it in South Africa and in Eastern Europe. Some of the instances were carried out there. In a sandbox environment, the economic impact of crypto assets and the integration with their products, they can be experimented by banks. And also coins have also proven themselves a lot. In many cases, the world is using that. Yes, in the UK, we also see its adoption. Yes, together with Circle and other players, our own stablecoin assets and infrastructures have been issued. Maybe conversion from fiat currency and transferring stable coin to your own bank and converting it into your local cash, for example. These are all the transactions that you can enjoy right now, or stable coin can now be transferred to your card, and you can do your shopping with the crypto assets. And so these are all the card products that Mastercard has adopted, deployed, and the legislation is now a bit hesitant and concerned about that in Turkey, but I think that it's going to take a new shape in the coming term. Yes, it would be a disruption phase, but this is also a phase for opportunities for Mastercard as well. Yes, Mastercard has now transformed itself into a services provider as well. Like 35% of the revenues are now generated by services. In the past decade, we have attained that. This is quite a key transformation and digital transformation. How it's applied, it's important. Cybersecurity, great investments are being made to that. Recorded future 2.6 billion USD was the acquisition amount. This is one of the greatest cybersecurity intelligence solution. I'm talking about an infrastructure that changes the entire course of warfare in Ukraine, and these kinds of investments will continue, and hopefully we will contribute to the sustainability and innovative spirit of the ecosystem, and hopefully we'll host you in the coming editions of this program. Thank you.